Hey Propelio fam, thanks so much for joining in today. We are here with two amazing guests, Jamil, Damji,
Yes.
I want to get that right, and Just Pace from Phoenix. Here with Elizabeth Navarette. We are going to talk on a topic that we felt really inspired about how they collaborate within the same markets, how they work together. We think you guys can benefit from this. So sit tight, quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining us on Propelio TV. Today we have two amazing guests from Phoenix, Arizona. We have Pace and Jamil, the two amazing guys that are just killing it in the industry.
Best bromance around.
Total bromance. Yes, yes. So they're going to talk to us about collaborating in our industry, in our market, which is something key. We thought that was super important to discuss because we don't discuss this. We don't talk about how we can help each other. And I think you have a great analogy for this. I forgot to mention it on a previous show. Tell us about that crabs in a bucket real quick.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, just do it.
I love that so much. So,
I know you love that, yeah.
oh my gosh. It is so much more fun to be around people when you all want each other to succeed, right? And we've been in rooms where you think you're all there and you think you're so like-minded and you look and dress and have the same, interests. But when you try and do something that's a little bit different or you try and excel or whatever, those people start telling you, oh, that's not going to work. Or, well, why would you do it that way? Even though the way you're doing it is incredibly genius or whatever. And if you guys Google blue crabs in a bucket, those crabs will actually see another crab climbing and they will pull that crab down. So no crab can escape, even though they could all climb on top of each other and they could all help each other get out and be successful. No crab even gets halfway up before he gets pulled back down. So where you really should be is in an ecosystem or an environment of people that are like-minded, truly like-minded, that want you to succeed. So here's what's interesting. You guys will see me on my phone from time to time, I'm sorry. But we got a deal, let's see. Heather, my escrow officer, sent me a text at 11:22. It's 11:36 right now. It's 11:22. Mike's file just recorded. That's a deal that Jamil and I are doing together. That's a deal that if without Jamil, that would not have been a deal for me. Think about that. So we think as wholesalers, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get deals and I'm going to have my own buyers list and I'm going to go solve all the problems in the world. Well, this was a house that the ARV is probably like $1.3 million. I don't have a buyer for that. I just don't have a buyer for that house. So I end up convincing the seller to cut a check for $50,000 to close escrow to get rid of this house. But still, I didn't have a buyer for that house. So you know who made that deal a deal? Yes, I did a great job on the acquisitions. My team did a great job on the acquisitions. I shouldn't say me. My team did a great job. But without Jamil and without KeyGlee and without collaboration, it would not have been a deal that I ever could have made any money on. It would have just been a contract without a buyer. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So there's times where somebody else in your market, like Steve and Max, for example, they might have a mobile home and I like mobile homes and they go, we don't have a buyer for this or we don't know what to do with this. And I go, I will buy that. I will flip that house. And because you're in an environment of other people that want to see you succeed, Jamil will send me a text and go, what deals can I look at today to help you get those contracts to actually make sense?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Just to add to that, so, and we provide this service to many wholesalers in the markets we're in, where they will.
I'm sending a photo to our escrow officer. I'm sending a photo to our escrow officer so she can
Always
see.
be
Okay.
branding.
Yes.
Yes.
So where we'll say, okay, send us any leads you're going on today, addresses, and we'll provide you with the number you should buy it at and the number that we think we can sell it for. Now, these guys haven't been to that appointment yet. They're trusting us with an address of a motivated seller, right? In many markets, that right there is a cardinal sin, right? People would say, never, ever, ever give a competitor or somebody in the same space an address before you even spoken to the seller. That person's going to go in. Out of the years and years and years and years and years that we've been doing this, I have never been called one time by anybody to say, hey, something weird must have happened with my deal that we sent to you first to comp for us or to give us a number on. Because the entire premise that I'm waiting around my day for you to send me an address so that I can poach your deal is crazy to me, right? But it's that crabs in a bucket idea, right? I think that if you have crabs, get rid of your crabs. Like,
not just real estate advice.
Is there like an ointment?
Life advice.
Is there like an ointment you can suggest or anything?
I have a question.
Don't be a douche. I don't know. Like,
it's really simple.
Yeah.
I think Daniel and them have said this before. Just don't be an a-hole. Like, just don't be that. But I have a question. I have a question on that. Because there are some gurus that teach daisy chaining, okay? And so I know in social media this is how we find a lot of partnerships in social media. It's a really good way to do it. One thing about that I would say, if you find that people are going behind your back, how much of that is honestly on you?
So I want to address the term, the daisy chain, right? So to me, what daisy chaining is, and correct me if you have a different idea, but that's where I don't know, let's just say I don't know Casey. Casey sends out a house. I see that deal and I say, I'm going to just send out Casey's house to my buyers and I'm going to add some money on it and I'm going to pretend like it's my deal and I really have no conversation with you. You have no idea I'm doing it. My buyers have no idea who the source is. So that, to me, is what I imagine to be the concept of a daisy chain. That's bullshit.
I agree.
Right? Yes. That's not business. So how we operate is through collaboration, through, okay, so what Pace will do is he'll option us the house, right? Because he's like, I don't have time for dispositions. I want to focus on going on appointments, buying properties, helping people close their first deals, and doing what I do best. His superpowers, right? So he wants to do that. He doesn't want to focus on disposition, so he'll option a house to us. We do it all correct in the sense that if we're sending out a house that's somebody else's, we have equitable interest because we've got an option. We have permission by the people who are the source of the deal to market it because they don't want to, right? And so I think that the way that it's being taught, right, is incorrect because they're saying, go get on a bunch of guys to list, go take those deals, go find some buyers through fishing on Craigslist and try to connect the dots. Okay, all of that is fine, but you know what? It would have changed that entire conversation is if in that course they said, first things first, pick up the phone, call that wholesaler and say, I'm working with a handful of buyers. Would you be okay with me non-exclusively optioning it so that I could just show it to my people and see if they'd have interest in it? 9 times out of 10, wholesalers know that their buyers come from other people, so why would they say no to you, right?
Absolutely.
It's just a respect thing. It's a thing of saying, let's have a conversation, let's communicate so you know what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you full disclosure of what I'm doing, and then if I can connect the dots on your deal, then you're happy.
This is key. You will have my absolute respect if you do that, if you contact me directly and say, I have somebody that may be interested, what can we work out?
Right.
I'm all game for that because I'd rather make a percentage of something than a percentage of nothing. Nothing, zero, right? So yes, bring me a buyer, but let's have that conversation first. And that's the missing mark. Unfortunately, I will tell you that is very common in the Houston market because that's where I'm at and I see this constantly and it's happened to me where people go around and they're colleagues, people that we know each other, we've seen each other at events, instead of picking up the phone and calling me and say, hey, Elizabeth, let's do something. I'm not going to say, hey, why don't you find your own deals? I'm going to say, great, you're going to help me dispo this faster.
You know what the lowest cost lead is? A referral. It is the lowest cost, and I'll take them all day long because that's how you can scale. About how many do you guys think you do together?
In a month? What do you think?
We do probably 2 or 3 a month together. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just between both of you. Then you also collaborate with other people within your market.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To a crazy degree, right? So Pace and I work with a lot of the same people. Him and I work together. I think in terms of how many collaborative deals we'll do, I'd say it's about half of our volume. And so if like on a good month, if we're doing like 80, 85, like that's 40 deals.
Yes.
That's 40 deals from not being a dick.
Caption that, please.
Yes.
Yeah, is that
Right.
right? That's 40 deals from just being like a normal
Absolutely.
person
Right.
with people and being friendly and saying, hey, I want to play in the sandbox with
Right.
you.
And what's interesting in our
Yes.
market, we all have the daisy chainers in our market, but you know what? All the people who are actually doing deals and direct it with the sellers and collaborating with each other and all that kind of stuff, we all know them by name.
Exactly.
We know them. So either A, they can call and introduce themselves and say, hey, I'd like to do as Jamil suggested, or B, we can just talk about them as people we don't want to do business with when we're in these big rooms and collective groups of people that we do want to do business with. Right. Just say, oh, hey, by the way, watch out for this guy. He'll do such and such and such. So it's not that we don't want to do business with them. It's that we don't want any of our friends who are actually our competitors to get burned by them. So we just say, hey, watch out for the way this guy is going to operate.
This is huge.
Yes.
What I don't think people realize in this market is how much, when you build these relationships, I cannot tell you how many phone calls. I haven't been in this that long, but something I pride myself on my business is integrity and doing it right, even if it's slow. I've had people much larger who have had others reach out to them and be like, hey, I've seen you talk to this person. What's your opinion? We talk to each other and we look out for each other, even our competitors. So that's a really big thing that that's the other side of the coin. And so I always tell people, if you don't do the business right, trust me, you're not gonna be able to scale. You might do okay here, but to get to that next level, I think this is what it takes.
Right.
100%.
You know what's funny is the business that you were just in, that you and your husband were in, top salespeople selling windows and siding and all that kind of stuff. Did you ever go to a competitor and learn and cross-collaborate and all that kind of stuff? It just doesn't exist in other industries.
It doesn't. It's not the same.
But that's what's so fun about this is that when people expect that this industry is supposed to be like the old days of those types of businesses and the traditional way of doing business, I think they follow that path, but this is not how that this business is supposed to work. Right. I might have buyers that you don't have, and you might have an outlet for a deal that I don't have, or you might have a lender that will make my flip actually work and pencil. So why not everybody make money rather than just nobody make anything, right? And if you can do that, that's what I love about Steve Trang. I was trying to think about this the other day, where I knew the premise of the show was going to be talking about collaborating in your market and how to not compete. And I thought, what was the catalyst in our market? What was one of the biggest catalysts in our market in Phoenix as to why we have such a brotherly bond? Even with Annie, she's like our sister, but we still call it the brotherly bond. Where did that come from? I feel like a lot of it came from Steve and doing interviews and doing these meetups and bringing people together. And it's a non-threatening environment, and people are like, I bought a deal from Jamil in January, February. I bought Virginia from him, where I went to Steve Trang's meetup and I go, hey, what do you have to sell today? He goes, I got this subject to deal you might be interested in. I go, I want it.
Yep. He just bought it like
right there. Literally through words, not text, not email. I hadn't even seen pictures of the house. Right. I just trust him because we have a relationship. And that's what Steve Trang has been able to do. And I don't know, I know you're trying to do that in your market, and Dallas has a good amount of people doing that here. Propelio does that. Yes. They create an environment that is opposite of the crabs in the bucket. And so I feel like the reason Phoenix is super unique is that there are people that wanted to collaborate, but the person who almost gave us permission to do so was Steve Trang and some other people maybe just right before him. So I give credit to other people in our circle that.
Also, I feel Brandon Simmons had.
Oh, Brandon!
He had
my gosh,
one of the big hand in that too.
Brandon Simmons.
Obviously, Steve, but right before that, Brandon had put together a mastermind called the Go Giver, based off that Go Giver book, and it was just all the juggernauts in town.
It's the best event. Steve Trang and Brandon Simmons events are the two events that I actually look forward to. I don't feel like it's a grind to go to them. I get excited. Like, I want to make sure my hair looks good. Just kidding, I wear a hat every time. But I want to make sure that I'm prepared and I move anything else off my calendar to go to those. And they're both free.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because both these guys are go-givers and they truly want the collaboration and they want to be part of that group. And so instead of sitting there waiting for somebody else to create it, those two dudes went and created it.
It's funny because they're both the same guys that if you ever, Pace is like this too, and I try to be this way whenever possible, but if somebody asks me, hey, do you have a resource, an attorney, a title company, an LO, whatever that piece that they're missing for that deal to work, I don't even give it a second thought before I send the contact.
Right.
Right? And I don't say, make sure you told them I sent you. I'm not even trying to have a stamp on that.
Yeah.
Like, go do your business. Go collaborate. I mean, I sent him an attorney referral, and I had a conversation with her a couple days ago because we're hiring her on a matter.
Yeah.
And she had said to me, between my referral and the referrals that she's gotten from Pace, she has an entirely different business than what she was living in prior to that. I mean, we're talking about just an attorney who works out of her house, whose entire life has been changed by collaborating efforts in our industry, right?
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It's cool to think. I was at her house. We did a whole new corporate structure last year where I changed the way my LLCs were all done, and I had her do all of it. And I'm sitting there in her house, working through all this stuff. And I look at this and I'm like, this is so cool that her entire livelihood is built upon a network of guys that all love and appreciate each other and have shared her name. And it's cool to think that one text to me, or to other people I'm sure you referred her out to, and then I referred her to all the Homevestor guys.
Oh, it changed her life.
Oh, it changed her life.
Yeah.
That to me is the epitome of having a tribe. It's people focus so much on build your buyers list, build your vendors list. So what about building your tribe too?
100%.
And that's a tribe right there that you can honestly say, this person 100%, I totally vet them, and you can proceed with the
and your word
becomes
has so much more weight. I tell people all the time, I've been asked how we aren't at 80 deals, or anything, but we're new. And I get asked all the time for people who have been in it longer who still haven't gotten that traction, like, what did you do? And I said, honestly, when I go to an event, I'm there to build the relationships first. And it's because of the bigger people like you guys who are giving back in a certain way. So as newer investors, I encourage you, yes, you need the skill, you need to build that. But when you go to an event, go with the intention of meeting these people, connecting, and that's it. Leave it there, and you will watch. What I like about what you guys said is it's not just investor to investor. It's also the loan officers. It's the title company. It's the attorneys. It's
your mobile notary.
Your mobile notaries. Everybody is going to be in that network. I met Nathan Schapler is a local lender here who I trust with my life. I was like, I don't know how I can give you business. I'm not a traditional realtor. It's insane how much I've needed and used him and been like, hey, talk to Nathan. And he might make one of our flips work just by qualifying somebody. So I like that it's a little bit more expansive on your circle in building that network.
You want to know, if you go back to the crabs in the bucket analogy and you look at it now the opposite way, we have now created a bucket where all the crabs want to be in our bucket. They don't want to get out, right? And the outside of our bucket is a filter of our, if you want to be in our group, you need to operate a certain way. And it's not that we're not a clique. We're not, hey, you have to be this, from this background, or you have to be a man or a woman or whatever. It's not that. It's you have to operate at a certain standard. You have to pick up the phone call and say, hey, I'd like to sell your deal for you if you give me the opportunity. Or you have to be able to bring something to the table and not be the person that takes the attorney and now you've got their information, but you don't want to share it with anybody else. We want people that are the same way. And so what happens is we've created a bucket. I just was invited to the bucket. I was lucky. But guys like Steve Trang, Brandon Simmons, other guys in our network created a bucket that everybody now wants to get inside of, and they want to be crabs in a bucket, if that makes sense.
Yes,
I think that is such a. I mean, I know we wanted to make this short and sweet, but I really feel like that is the essence of it, and I like that you guys are promoting that and building that out there. And so I would almost say, if you're an investor that finds everyone around you is trying to pull you down, you are in the wrong bucket.
Wrong
Right.
bucket.
You need to do a check. You need to look at who you're surrounding yourself with, and you need to maybe rethink that aspect of how you'd like to move forward. You get in with the right people.
Yeah, and you made a reference to the newer investors. I would say newer,
The older,
mid-level,
yes, everybody.
even
Right.
people that have been in it for so many years. Refresh your bucket list, or refresh your list of
Check your crabs.
Yeah, check your crabs.
But like also
Recheck
check
them every
your
year.
gut, because here's the
Yes.
funny thing, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
this is gonna be weird for some people listening. If you feel that you might be getting screwed over by somebody by being collaborative, and that person's screwing you over, you're probably the screwer.
Oh.
You're probably the screwer. If somebody
We're
is
getting real.
if somebody
Wow.
is so
Ooh, is
if
there a
you
mic
feel
to
somebody's
drop?
got
Yes,
their
I know.
hands in your pocket, bro, you got your hands in everybody's pocket. Get real with yourself.
Wow.
Stop being a phony.
Right.
That's the reality of it.
We live
on
in
fire.
That.
That's
yes.
the truth, though.
You're
It's exactly
so
what that
right
is.
about that.
The
I think
minute
so.
I feel like this
Yes.
thing, I'm that thing.
Yep.
Right.
That's why I feel it. That's why I see it, because we're all just acting from our own bubbles.
Yeah.
Can I share something about
Boom, yes.
let's say that we're going to Houston in a couple months, right? So let's say for your Houston listeners, you've got KeyGlee, who's going to be branching out into Dallas and into Houston in a big way. These guys have a machine. It's not one dispo guy that works for them. It is a machine of disposition, right? So let's say that I'm in Houston. I moved to Houston next week. How would I utilize somebody like a KeyGlee to be collaborative? How would I technically do that? What does that actually look like? Let's say I get a lead, and that lead, maybe my cold caller asks the seller, where do you need to be? They say $200,000, or don't waste my time, right? I go to my buyer's list and I go, well, I've got some people that would probably pay $190, $195, but then that doesn't make this deal work. So I got to talk this seller down to $185 in order to make it work. And by that point, it's probably not going to work out, right? Now I have to rely entirely on my ability to negotiate a seller down to a point where they probably will just go through another wholesaler, right? So I don't sell all my deals through KeyGlee. I have my own buyers, but we collaborate on a good amount of deals. If I can go to KeyGlee and say, hey, Jamil, or whoever he has in charge of Houston, and say, hey, I've got a deal, the seller wants $200,000, what are your thoughts on that? And KeyGlee goes, well, I see this, this, and this, and we might have a buyer that's a buy and hold, or we might have a relationship with a hedge fund that you don't have a relationship with, where we could offload that at 207 and at least make the deal work. They might have a relationship that I don't have, nor do I have the time or even the ability to go create that relationship, right? So if I'm trying to collaborate in my own market and KeyGlee doesn't exist, I would be reaching out to 5 or 6 other wholesalers and say, I've got a seller who wants 200. Do you guys have any buyer that would be willing to all of us make a little bit of money?
Yeah.
But that's what I utilize KeyGlee for in my market, is that I reach out to them. I go, hey guys, I've got a deal. What are your thoughts on where this could dispo? And I can back my way into the deal. I don't understand the values, or I don't understand what this particular buyer would want, right?
Right.
So there's a ton of ways to collaborate and utilize KeyGlee once they come into Houston or they come into Dallas. I would suggest to your listeners to reach out to him on Instagram or reach out to KeyGlee on Instagram directly. They'll help you with values. They'll help you with understanding where the house actually trades at, because when they're doing 80 to 100 deals a month, they understand what a house trades at.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So something to think about there. And if you don't have them, then go to other wholesalers in your market and collaborate. Go to lunch and say, hey, I keep running into the same thing. Is it something with my sales structure where I'm not getting it deep enough? Or do I maybe just not have good enough buyers, and could we collaborate where you help me find a buyer? Right?
I'm all in. I'm going to be the KeyGlee Houston girl. I'm
love
already there.
I got Dallas market
Boots on
for
the
you.
boots on the ground. I mean, let's make this happen. We want you to succeed in our markets, and
It's so cool.
and if we can make that happen for you, at least I'm all in. I know Casey too.
100%.
And count on us for that, because we need this. This is a way to scale our businesses, right? I think the word of this year is scaling. Everybody's
think
talking
we've
about
talked
that
about it a
scaling,
lot.
and I think this is a key component that merges fills in those gaps that are missing in our in our industry.
Absolutely.
Definitely
take it to the next level.
Very kind.
Yeah, thanks for influencing
again,
our market.
and also be the pace of your market.
Yes.
If you've got skills and you've got the ability to go out and show newbies how to close their appointments, you guys are spending so much time and money to get appointments when there's free appointments with just a little bit of a helping hand, right? The thinking is backwards sometimes, right?
Yep.
Be the pace in your market. Get out there, shake hands, meet people, be helpful.
Yep.
His key: how am I going to add value today? Who am I going to add value to today? Who am I going to help today? Did any of that have money?
Yeah.
Did any of that was any of that pace saying, how am I going to get a check? How am I going to get paid today? How am I going to eat today? How am I going to buy lunch? No. All he was saying was, how can I add, and what is created from that is pace gets paid.
There's a guy in our, thank you so much. There's a guy in my market, his name's Ryan LaChance. He's just barely starting out. He's a firefighter, so he's kind of got the perfect job. Works one day, 2 days off. Works one day, 2 days off. Could you freaking imagine having that job and trying to break into wholesale? Like, I'm making a full-time living working every third day. He's got kind of the dream job, but he gets a deal, and the seller ghosts him, and they end up signing with somebody else. He thought he had a signed contract. They hadn't signed it, right? They said, oh yeah, we signed it, it should be in your email, blah, 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 blah. They end up signing with another wholesaler. So he calls me up and he's like, man, what could I have done? You know, you keep saying you want to help me, but how can you help me in this situation? I said, well, here's what's going to happen. It sounds like if they paid over what you were willing to pay, there's a possibility that they're not going to execute that contract. They probably don't have a good buyer. They don't have a good disposition.
Yes.
A lot of guys are just doing acquisitions and trying to lock stuff up in hopes that they're going to sell the deal. So I call Ryan and I go, hey, I had a thought. Why don't you send the seller a text and just say, hey, you know what? I'm so happy that you guys got a little bit more money, as you should. This is your asset. If for some reason it doesn't work out, please reach back out to me. We can close within a week.
That's it. And I've gotten contracts out of that.
Always.
So this is what happens.
100%.
Follow up.
Ryan calls me, he goes, oh my gosh, I got the contract. What do I do now? And I go, well, he goes, how can I pay you? How can I pay you? I go, the way I'd like to be paid is I'd like to do the flip. Will you sell the property to me? And he goes, oh my gosh, you would buy it? So I buy it. I'm currently flipping it. So Ryan now meets me over the property and watches what it looks like to renovate, flip, do all the stuff I talked about in the interview. And what I told Ryan, he didn't ask for this, but I told Ryan, I go, I want you to get more deals. So I'm going to take 10% of my net profit on my flip, and I'm going to take that and reinvest it into your marketing so that you can have more appointments for us to both go on. It starts out altruistically, but at the end of the day, it does benefit me. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
There is a way for us to work and make money together. And if I've been doing this 2 years, I have something you don't have. Yep. I know something to say to a seller you don't have. So we turned a deal into something that wasn't going to end up being a deal. And you were able to make money, and I reinvested in you because I want you to go get more deals in the future.
Cool.
I love that because you've really explained a creative way to partner for the benefit of all.
Right.
And I wish we had more time, but I think we just to put a bow.
Sorry, guys.
No, I love that. We could go on forever. But what's great is you're accessible. So we can continue this off this interview. Yes. All of you guys watching, like, comment, put your questions down. I'm going to have y'all just say again how to get a hold of you. What's the best way? And then any last words or advice you have, please drop it.
I'm on Instagram, Damji.
I'm on Instagram, PaceJMorby, and on Instagram, I do a weekly phone call on Sunday that's free for any newbie wholesalers or investors that are trying to get in. And they can hear about how we're getting deals and all that kind of stuff. It's a free call. We do it every Sunday at 7 p.m. Arizona time, which would be Dallas would be 9 p.m. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Not that late.
No, it's not late.
But anyway, we do that. So you guys can jump on the call or reach out to us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn anything about our program, it's astroflipping.com/Jamil.
Perfect. I'm on Instagram as well, Casey Buys Houses. My name is tagged here, spelt the same way. If y'all, in the spirit of this conversation in Dallas, again, need any of this kind of stuff, please reach out. I've helped people close foreclosures, kind of my specialty, and if you need to disposition some deals as well, just in the spirit of all of that. So
Love it.
Thanks for having us, Elizabeth. Take us out.
Thank you so much, everyone. We had a fantastic show. My name is Elizabeth Navarette. You can find me on Instagram at ELI_Nava. And I am in Houston. So if you need anything, I'm gonna be the pace in Houston. I'm gonna go back and change some things around. So if you're still interested in connecting, I'll send you a questionnaire, and then we can go. You can go with me to my appointments or walk some of my flips. Just join me on what my day looks like.
Love it.
And we're gonna change the industry up, and you'll see KeyGlee too.
And special thanks to Propelio.
Yes,
by
thank
the way.
you, Propelio.
Ryan Harper's the man.
Yes, that Ryan Harper and Daniel. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for the community you have given us and this platform, which is so beneficial. If you like what you're watching, if you enjoy the show, please give it a heart, like, share. Also, tag one of your friends that may benefit from it. Go to Propelio.com, your best source for lead generation, for comps, and also for your website. And don't forget, you will be able to see Jamil and Pace in Houston first weekend of October. You'll see the announcement coming up soon. Thank you so much,
guys.
and we look forward to seeing you on our next show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Life and Air.
Want to keep up with the latest Propelio TV daily? Be sure to subscribe and click that bell.